Illumination series in the Umbani Chronicles, and I am joined once again by Andrea Rose Washington.
Hello.
She is the author of Adalithia, Amentry, and Elendil.
Elendo.
Elendil and Amentry's Magic. My
Yeah.
bad. Got it. Those are all three of hers. So if you like science fiction and fantasy, check her stuff out. There will be a link in the description of this episode, as well as my website will be up there as well. Today we are finishing off Vox Machina. Um, Season 2, episodes 11 and 12, Belly of the Beast and The Hope Devourer, which are the last two episodes for this season. It was an interesting ride, as we knew it would be from season 1.
Mhm.
I'm curious to see how we go into season 3, given some actual events in real life that have happened recently, so we'll see. Um, but I guess let's get into it. We have Belly of the Beast opens up where we get the ending of the scene with Scanlon and Kaylee, where they're having it out, kind of.
I just have to say,
Yeah,
first disclaimer: people don't laugh at me. I have a list right now, and there's nothing I can do about it. And two, when he started talking about the woman that he fell in love with, I knew in that moment it was not her. Like he went into so much because like yeah, the eyes, the ears, the hair. You look just like I know exactly who she is. And then we see the woman. It was like that was not her. They don't have the same eyes or the same ears
yeah.
or the same hair. I did not see a family resemblance between the girl and the
In
woman
his in his vision.
in his vision.
Yeah,
And I'm like, Scanlon, stop, 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 stop.
yeah. My note was Scanlon WTF LOL because he doesn't remember Kaylee's mom, and that's obvious. And I started rolling even more when he started just reeling off names, trying to guess, and then at the end he said Bert or something.
It was oh, I was like, it was a beautiful story of him falling in love, and it's like, oh, almost like I even asked her to come with me, and she said no, and everything, and at every word he said, I was just like, you are digging yourself into a deeper hole because that is not her mother.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have the same coloring, they had nothing. Their eyes weren't the same color, nothing, nothing was a Scaling. Stop.
Yeah, he was going on one. He thought he had the one. He thought he was. He said that with confidence too, though. All the stuff he
Mm-hmm.
was saying, he was just rattling off details about how they fell in love and met. And yeah, the person in his vision obviously didn't look anything like Kaylee. And we got it. Gnome. I remember I was tripping last episode. Like, what exactly is Scanlan? And he's a gnome
Mm-hmm.
because he confirmed this episode. A couple people mentioned it. I think. Either Kaylee or Pike, I think, mentioned it to him. And then he, at the end of the other episode, he's like, time to gnome up. I think it's his version of cowboy up.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get himself together. Yeah, Scanlan goes through that whole thing, and she ends up just being frustrated. I think she had planned to kill him. And then was there like a curse on the sword or something she put because it floats there when she leaves him?
I was very I was very confused by that because I don't remember where she got the sword from.
Yeah.
Like for a second I thought that was the vestige, but I think the vestige was different, wasn't it?
Yeah, the vestige that he got that they could see through, I thought Umbrasil, the dragon, had taken that already because it's
Yeah.
like on his, he's got it cuffed to his arm. So it wasn't that vestige sword. It was some other sword that apparently I think Kaylee had. But as she leaves, there's like a glowing golden inscription in it, and it's floating, pointed at his chest where he scratches himself when he
Trying to
frees
get away.
himself. Yeah, when he tries to get by it. So I'm like, I don't know what's up with that sword, but there's more to it than that. And then I got confused by the next section because as Kaylee leaves, there's like a golden trail that leads out the door, and then that's kind of what looks like attracts Vax. When he's
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there, he sees this thing kind of meandering out of the doorway to the tavern that they're in, and then he comes out and sees, I guess, souls of the dead, and he finally walks around. So we're finally getting it to be revealed what his job actually is. Even though, even through the last episode, we still don't see him actually do his job.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of has it out with the matron of ravens. Uh, I think it's Keyleth and
That
Vex
follow him.
follow him out, and of course, Keyleth is the doofy one that's making so much noise that both know that they're being followed.
Like I saw you, I heard you 4 blocks ago.
Yeah, and she's like, "It wasn't me." She's like, "No, it was me. Sorry, am I really that loud?" So they follow him. It looks like he's going to some Church of the Dead or whatever, I guess, because she's the matron of ravens is the goddess of death in this lore. So he goes in there, and there are a bunch of, I don't know if they're like nuns or
It's like her followers, like or her
yeah,
priests, or like her people, like usher him to where he's supposed to go.
yeah, her
Very
under
creepy.
matrons. Yeah, it was kind of creepy. He just walks in. There's like a pool of blood over a big old statue of the matron, and he
Mm-hmm.
decides to, after having that conversation with Scanlan, like, okay, I guess I got to just take the plunge and ignore my fears. And he does, and he surrenders to himself, and this pool of blood floats down. We don't know whether he's dying, what's going on. And then he wakes up and has an actual conversation, which was interesting, has an actual conversation with the matron of ravens. What do you think about that part?
So I liked it. It was because this season has been a lot about growth, and for them like to come out of their shell. We've seen each one of them. Like first season was all about Percy, sort of like that was his story. It was season 1 was all about Percy.
Mm-hmm.
But like this season, we've gotten to see each one of them have some type of growth, understanding, come to Jesus moment with who they were, what their powers are, and this one was for him. And I liked it because even though he didn't get it in that moment,
Yeah,
it was an eye opener to him. Like, okay, this is what I'm afraid of. I need to work on it to become better. And we see him starting to grow and accept his role, like what he accepted to save his sister's life.
yeah.
So I liked it.
Yeah, he basically tells her that, my sister is still here and a debt is owed. I'm here to fulfill it, whatever that is. And he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Am I supposed to usher them into the beyond? And she's like, yes, in a way, that is what and I guess what he's seeing is the destinies. And she tells him not to be afraid of death. So I'm curious as to what he is supposed to be afraid of then, because she's like, you're afraid to die. And he's like, of course. And then she tells him, there are plenty of things to be afraid of, but death isn't one of them. You shouldn't be afraid of death because it basically shows you the worth of life, that balance. So yeah, he does kind of come up that with his newfound confidence in his direction and his path. And of course, they're freaking out because he's covered in blood.
That was hilarious. She was like,
He
oh, there
goes,
you are. Oh my God.
yeah,
What is wrong?
yeah. He's like, oh, no, nothing. I'll explain it on the way. And they're like, okay, whatever. Like they don't get it that he's covered in blood and he's just walking out like everything is cool. Like he's had an epiphany. No one else has had this epiphany with him. They don't know what's going on. And yeah, I like that part of it. It was kind of gave us some clarity because that was kind of an overhanging thing that was just over his head. It kind of still is because we still don't witness him ushering and he's seen a bunch of people die, over the previous episodes, but we don't see him take that step to be like, I'm going to be your guide into the hereafter. And we don't see him do that. I thought that was going to happen when we saw the rest of the herd and Kevdak.
Okay, so I was not prepared for that scene. When he was walking out and following the little like gold thread, I definitely thought he was about to like run straight into the matron. But to see the herd stand up, I was almost expecting to see the uncle again, or like have the uncle say something or taunt him, and then we see the dead king, clambering up him like, usher us. I was like, hold up, pause. I didn't sign up for zombies. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah,
it was a shock, but yes, I was expecting him to start seeing him ferry souls as well. And he didn't immediately stop. But I think because even though he came to terms, he didn't fully accept it yet. not yet in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, we see him verbally accept it and ask and get some clarification from the matron, but I was just pointing out we don't see him actually do any of that, despite he's just, like it's like doing chores, and he's just walking past a bunch of messes that it seems like he's gonna have to go back and pick
Yeah.
back up because they're leaving the trailer dead, you know, regardless of where they go. So there's a lot of souls to be ushered in if you want to. You skip like 30 or 40 just now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we get the next scene where Thordak and Ubersil are talking, and we still see that Thordak, my notes say, don't give a damn about vestiges. And he
Yeah.
basically threatens Umbrasil, which that name is so weird to me, even though it's fantasy. I know the names are going to be weird, but that sounds like a mix between like some type of soccer short and like a groin ointment or something. I don't know what that name is. I expect to see this commercial for Umbrasil, you know, when you got that itch or something like. But he threatens him and says, "Your body will burn if you don't give me my gold," basically. But that's brief. They keep that brief, and then we flash back. We go into the tavern, and Percy is trying to put together some super complicated plan and trap system for the dragons. The herd is not listening to any of that.
They're
Like,
not.
yeah, he's going through all these stupid plans and terminology that none of them get. It's like, huh? What? And then
They just want
Grog
to
is
rage
like,
and smash things.
yeah, you dig here. I'm like, oh, why didn't he just say so? Just tell us that. You can tell us to dig, and that would have been it.
That scene I thought was really funny. Because one, we're seeing a lot more of people who act like Grog,
Yeah,
in different
as a group.
forms.
Yeah,
And so we're like, okay, Grog, we understand. I understand why you are the way you are now, because like this is how you were raised. Okay, you're not stupid. You just only care about raging and fighting. This is the
yeah,
only thing you were ever taught. I understand that now. But it's also really interesting that they were all drinking and having fun, and then going back to Vax's scene of him walking out, and
yeah.
like they didn't even move the dead. So it's like they're to cut
No,
back to that scene of Percy explaining the trap, and it's like they're all these people are drunk, they're having fun, they're partying, and all the dead people are still
so,
outside the building. Like you didn't even move it to a pile, you didn't burn them, you didn't do anything. So
yeah.
it's really interesting, even going back to watching, even going forward to watching Percy trying to explain the trap. They really don't care. They're
No,
just like, look, I want to drink and have fun, and then just tell me where to dig. I dig there, I'm gonna dig. Okay, you should have just said that.
yeah. We're part of the killing part of it. We're not part of the aftermath cleanup part. We've done what we came to do. Well, the rest of y'all have to figure the rest of that stuff out. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we got that, and that I think something else happened again. I think when after the plan is conceived and we see Scanlan reaching back out to Kaylee, and there's another thing with like golden wisps and that sword when he tries to give it back to her, and she's like, "I don't want anything from you." So I'm curious: is there going to be a payoff with this curse or blessing, whatever it is golden stuff on the sword? We see him use it when they get into the later fight, and yeah, the herd. Go ahead.
Before we get too far, I want to talk about Scanlan talking to oh, I want to say Tequila.
Yeah.
Um, what would happen if you had a puppy, like you didn't know
Oh
you
my
got a
goodness.
puppy, and then you didn't know, and then you tried to sleep with that puppy? And she's like, "Oh God, please let this be a metaphor." And it's just
Because you don't know
because like
what it
it's
is.
really interesting because she doesn't think at that moment
Yeah.
child. She thinks, "Did you really try to sleep with a puppy? Like what's going
Yeah.
on?"
She's
Like
yeah.
Scanlan,
It's
what are
like
you
you would.
doing?
Yeah. Nobody would put it past Scanlan if he did try. So that's why she's like, please let this be a
Be a
metaphor. Because if
metaphor.
you're being serious right now, I don't know how to take it. Yeah. So yeah, that was funny because
I love their little moments together.
yeah, he's still trying to relate to his secret child that he had no idea existed. I don't understand why he didn't just come out and say that and
So
when he wanted to ask her for some priestly advice.
I feel like part of it is as again as I've said, I think multiple episodes. they're treating him some type of a way differently than they did in season 1. And like it's been a lot of crap on Scanlan season time. And I feel like he probably didn't come out and say it directly because he didn't want another thing. Because one, everyone knew he was attracted to her and was trying to sleep with her. One.
Yeah.
And two, it would people would either laugh it off or not take it seriously, or just like, well, that's just like you. How many kids would you probably have out there? So I feel like it was almost a little bit of self-preservation because this season they definitely did not treat him with respect out of like nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I still would have. I would have rather him just come out and say. I know they were doing it for comedic effect and shock value of discussing basically him messing with the puppy or her basically treating it that way because she's taking it as a straight question when you ask for priestly advice, and then he starts talking about him. I tried to sleep with this puppy I didn't know I had. It just came off as super weird, even though I know why they did it. Yeah, it was funny. So then they got this plan together. Finally, it seems kind of half baked. They're under the ground waiting on Umbrasil to get there, leading him to this little paltry gathering of treasure as he walks in. But of course, the dragon sees it. They try and trap Umbrasil. It doesn't work. And of course, like they're fighting the dragon. People are getting just melted with this acid he's spewing, and then they're using the vestiges they have to fight this dragon. And Scanlan's like, we have to get inside. And then Vax is like, no way, we can't get by all the acid. He's like, yeah, I'm not talking about that. We can get in the other way. And I'm like, oh, they're really overdoing it with this other way thing. And Scanlan,
that scene, I had to replay it because one, seeing Vax's reaction to it, because it's like, okay, you can't really defeat him from the outside. Let's try and get on the inside and cause actual damage. So it is a smart idea, but it's like the execution of it, like you have to go in through the butt.
Yeah,
through the behind. But also that Vax didn't like negate it, didn't like throw it away. He was like, he picked Scanlan up on his back and like ran super speed, and then Scanlan did the hand.
Yeah, turn into the hand with the fingers. I was like, oh, they're doing way too much with this.
Oh my god. And everyone else was like, did they just what?
Yeah. I think it was Pike is like, oh, Scanlan.
The dragon's reaction was like, what?
Yeah, his eyes kind of opened up wide, Buck, like, what just happened? Like, oh, you know what just happened.
Yeah. And it was a smart idea. I think they needed more than just a sword on the inside. I think instead of just like pointing the sword there and stopping the dragon from like lifting because it was going to float wherever.
Yeah.
I just would have like cut long strips inside of a dragon.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was a good execution, bad plan.
But yeah, I think that's the same thing. Good initiative, bad judgment. Same thing would have happened if they did that, and if the acid would have flooded the chambers that they were in, in his digestive system. If they cut the wrong thing, you don't know how the anatomy of that happens, and then they're all just died inside of the dragon. But yeah, that was a crazy episode, and of course, Umbrasil is super strong, and you can't hold me. He gets up and flies away with Vax and Scanlan inside of him. And of course, Grog is not going to give up. So we end the episode with Grog basically using that axe they got from his cousin that used to be his now dead uncle's. Kind of like, you probably never played God of War, but it's like the axes in God of War. And he has him tied to a rope, and he's now flying along with this dragon. They have to chase and pursue. And as they fly off, that's the end of the episode 11, Belly of the Beast. And of course, now we know that the title, they're in the belly of the beast.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So that was crazy. Good episode. And now I guess we can move on to the Hope Devourer.
You want to take a break
So that's
first?
the last episode.
Do you want to take a break first? Or you want to go straight into it?
Straight into it, because Anchor slash Spotify for podcasters has kind of taken away our ads. So even if I place an ad into it, it doesn't really play. But if you'd like to help the channel, you can go to toughraps.com for you health-minded geeks and nerds out there who are still working out and get your buff on, or trying to get to level 9,000 or whatever it is you're doing. You can buy your workout stuff there: wrist wraps, knee braces, weight belts, t-shirts, all kinds of workout gear. And for a 10% discount, you can enter Jacked Rider, Jacked Rider, as the discount code. And you can get a discount and help the channel out because it's my own sponsor, and I'd greatly appreciate it. I guess that'll be our break for the.
Did you like?
Yeah, you're getting your flex on there. I like it.
If you are listening to this on Spotify, check out the video part just for that section.
Yeah.
You will not be disappointed.
Awesome.
But yeah, so we start in the last episode, which in my opinion didn't feel like a last episode of the season. Did it feel like that to you? It didn't.
No, because it didn't because it wasn't any huge thing aside from the final battle that happened, but it was another. It seemed like they just gave us another jumping off point.
Yeah.
Because we start the opener with apparently Scanlan is passed out inside the belly of the beast. Now he's full on asleep and he's having this sweet grandfatherly dream where he's Grandpa Scanlan. Best dad ever. Thanks, Jocelyn. We've got Grandpa Scanlan in his dream reading these tales of Vox Machina to his two grandkids, where of course he's the main one that did everything and everybody might have helped a little the whole time, which is hilarious. And then finally the kids and different people in his dream starts turning around and telling him to wake up. I think the words are on the book at some point that he's opening up, says wake up. Then the kids turn around and their faces change a little bit, telling him to wake up, and we realize that he is indeed asleep and he is still obviously in the predicament that we left off in the episode before. Him and Vax are in the belly of the beast, flying to this mountain fortress, I guess, the Dragon Lair. Go ahead.
So I will have to say that when he wakes up, he tells that Vax, I was having the best dream. And I think that's like a turning point for him, because we all know Scanlan as a horny little guy. So in my opinion, his the best dream ever or whatever would be him doing some fun stuff with some other people. But for him to be a grandfather reading a story to his grandkids and be surrounded by his daughter, and he's calling that like the best dream ever, makes me see like, okay, this is starting to see his priorities are starting to shift just slightly.
Yeah. So yeah, they're flying along and they think they need an airship to follow. I think, was it Vex that says that, or someone else
said? He was like, we need an airship.
We need an airship, and then of course Keyleth transmogrifies into this giant bird, and they hop on her back while Vex hops on her broom, and now we have this aerial pursuit with Grog swinging in the wind as Umbrasyl leads them into his lair further and further. He's trying to shake, which I don't understand why he's trying to shake Grog off at this point when he has one of the vestiges he supposedly wants.
I think it's because the axe is in his back. Literally, I think that's the only reason, because he can't reach him while he's on his back.
Okay.
If he was like under him, he would probably like reach and grab him, but I don't think he can reach.
Yeah, he's got the pterodactyl arm syndrome. Little arms they can't reach.
I can't reach.
Yeah, so they're flying through the air, chasing Umbrasyl, and he's spitting acid at them as they pursue, and also trying to shake Grog off by knocking him through trees. And eventually, that was a crazy scene where finally Grog gets knocked off, or he thinks he knocks him off in that cliff. Or that little big large rock where he banged him through, and Grog is actually already on his hide, and then he finally knocks him off there, and he can't fly, obviously. And you see
And they
Keith,
can't reach him.
yeah, he's too far. I'm not going to be able to catch him yet. So he's going to fall to the ground, and he breaks every damn thing. But
But
he,
he makes himself bigger for it.
yeah, makes himself
Like,
bigger and stronger. I thought he was going to fly or something. Lightning was going to happen with the gauntlets, but it didn't. He creates
I,
this huge crater. Go ahead.
yeah, I feel like because he was bigger, the injuries were spread out further versus so like that was the only way he was able to survive. Because like
Yeah,
if Keyleth didn't get to him and not Keyleth,
Pike.
Pike, yes. If Pike didn't get to him when she did, if he was smaller, like he would have just been gone. But because
Yeah,
I think he was bigger, he was able to survive the impact because it was more mass versus. I mean, he's big in general, but like he was a lot bigger here, so he was
yeah,
able to survive enough for Pike to get there.
yeah. And he does, obviously, but he's really banged up. And then we flash into Scanlon and Vax still their conundrum of trying to get out before he gets to wherever he's getting. They try different things. They end up going out of the womb they created initially. And so I'm like, why didn't they just go out the way they came? But I
Because
guess,
acid was filling up the back behind them.
damn, we got acid come out of his booty too?
Yeah,
Why
he
is acid?
disgusting. He disgusting.
Yeah.
He
So,
disgusting.
yeah, but then they
He ate
like,
them
literally,
tacos he wasn't supposed to eat.
yeah, they they literally fist their way out with one of Scanlan's magical pink or purple fist, whatever color that is. They get out like in the nick of time, and then Vax is like, "Good fisting," and Scanlan's like, "Yeah, years of practice or something stupid."
I love them. I love them.
And yeah, so everybody's falling. They're falling, and then
Vax
Vax
decides,
Vax is like, I submit myself to you completely, and my boy grows wings. First they're golden at first, then they go to black, and then he's flying. He's able to catch Scanlan, and everybody is rejoined at like the base of Umbracil's dragon lair. And it's obvious that Grog is not going to be able to make it yet. He's really jammed up.
Pike
Um,
is tapped out. She can't heal him anymore.
Yeah, she's sparking out. And then my note here says Vex is such a hater.
She is. She is a hater.
Because
And
she's like, I get a broom and you get freaking wings. Like, you have a vestige too.
but like honestly, chick, he's like this because you died and he gave his life for yours. Chill. Chill.
She was mad. I was like, why is she mad that my boy has wings now? He's like, you get wings. She was like seriously jealous in that moment. I'm like, this ain't the time for that.
This is why I live in my truth of saying I don't like her. I don't like her because every time I feel like I can, yes, Jocelyn, she is ungrateful.
Grateful.
You have a broom that flies and you're jealous you don't have wings?
Yeah, and there's no responsibility really attached to that broom. That's going to come with her having that or owning that. She's just free to use it willy-nilly and do what she wants. Meanwhile, my boy is going to have to usher in a whole planet worth of dead people to the other side.
So you can live.
Yeah.
So you can keep breathing. So you can keep flying that broom, you ungrateful elf.
Yeah. So yeah, they end up I think the plan is Scanlan gets mad because they're splitting the team up, and he's all about just cutting and running. Like, let's just go. Let's bounce. We can't win. We don't need to do this. And now they're getting into an internal conflict with the group because Vax has this newfound confidence in the path that he's on, basically. And everybody is not on that path right now, obviously.
He sounds like he's in a cult.
Yeah, I don't know what you thinking, but I'm thinking we can't win and we should just, cut and run. And you talking about it is what it is and it's destiny and we can't run from our destiny. So we might as well just buck up and get it.
He's a born again mother
matron of the Raven. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
He's a born again of the matron Raven. Like, I don't know about you, but I know who I serve.
Yeah.
Today is not the day the matron's gonna let me talk.
Yeah, he said today it's not the time for cowardice or something like that. Like, everybody was cracking on Scanlan here. They just kept saying it over and over again, like he's about to run. And he in his mind is having flashbacks of his conversation with Kaylee when she said that too. Like
Mm-hmm.
all you're gonna do is run. Well, now you're not gonna get to run no more. Um, which we still don't understand what the hell's up with this sword. Is that sword is going to make him not run now? Because obviously he had. I don't know if that was the defining factor that made him turn back around and fight.
I don't know either, but I do know. So I do like that he did tell Pike. Pike was the one who explained that the other girl was his daughter, and she's like,
Yeah,
"What?" And he's like, "I want to be like more for her, but it's it's really interesting how." Oh wait, no, he used Myth Carver. He didn't use the glowing sword. He used Myth Carver. I looked at the
the
breakdown.
the notes.
Yeah. So I don't because he didn't have the glowing sword anymore. Remember, because it fell when he cut when he when the when Umber flew out, the sword came out and stayed where it was. It was supposed to like keep him pinned there. And when they flew after them, when Vex and
Yeah,
Keelan,
it's on the ground
it's on
when
the
he when
ground out
he.
there. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
used Myth Carver inside the tomb. He didn't use the glowing sword.
How did he use Myth Carver when that was strapped to the dragon's arm though?
I'm gonna have to go back and watch
Yeah,
how,
yeah,
but
because he's got a whole little scabbard thing like on his arm where that sword is in there. Maybe he used it after, like when in the final fight when they're all getting down and Umbrasyl is basically beating the brakes off of all of them.
so yes.
Yeah,
When the dragon is beating the brakes off of everyone and he's like gloating, he's like, I have all three vestiges.
yeah.
Scanlan sneaks in and takes Myth Carver from him. He's like, two.
You got two. Yeah, this one's mine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a crazy fight. We knew it was going to be. I don't know why Vax thought he was going to be just Mr. Speedster, sneak in, sneak out, get the lay of the land. I'm like, what are you planning to do by yourself if you weren't going to fight? Like, you knew, and we already know by now that the dragon can make himself go invisible.
Which that honestly came out of nowhere in the last episode. And I'm like, that's just
Yeah,
not fair.
yeah.
Because like, where did that even come from? Like, was it camouflage or did he make himself invisible?
No, my
Like,
boy he just got this
like
cloak of
where
invisibility all of a sudden.
I would believe it more if it was camouflage.
Mm.
Because it's like, all right, he can change his scales to match his surrounding area. Because some lizards can do that. Okay.
Like a chameleon
Yeah.
dragon. Okay.
But like just straight up invisible,
Yeah.
I was like, no, this came out of left field. You did this specifically just to make him harder to defeat. And I didn't like that. I will say that. I didn't like the fact that he could become invisible because I just felt like that was you just upped the points harder for no other reason just to make it harder.
Yeah, Grog was mad. He's like, "What a dick!" when he
Yeah,
disappeared in the game.
yeah,
Yeah, then
I agree.
they were getting mollywopped. I don't know, understand why Keyleth didn't do her little giant fire spirit thing like the whole time. Like why? Just that was your best. That should have been your go-to move. You're fighting an acid breathing dragon because you might be able to negate some of the power of the acid being thrown around. Maybe you could just burn it off midair before it gets to y'all. But she's doing all this other stuff, and it wasn't working. So that was kind of cool. When Scanlan's, you can like he's giving himself a pep talk in the end, like not gonna give up. Finally, you just got to gnome up and do it. After it seems like everybody is about to die. Everybody's on their last leg. They keep trying to get up. Percy's getting knocked out every other second. You know, he's putting in shots every once in a while, but they're not very effective. And
Yeah.
like you said, yeah, Scanlan kind of sneaks up on him. I think it's why it works is because it's Scanlan. And
It's
he
like they
grabs,
underestimated him, so he didn't even bother looking for him.
yeah, grabs a sword, stabs my boy in the eye, and I don't know, this elemental all-seeing light just comes out and explodes half my boy's head, and that's the end of Umbrasyl. He falls down dead, and they're all recovering. And you see, I forget what the other character's name that was from Whitestone that betrayed them and the Doctor, but she's still there watching
Yeah,
everything.
hidden, and they don't know she's there though.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of worried when she leaves. They're still there, like basically licking their wounds, but happy that they've won for now. And they're like, "What's that glow over there?" And we find out that Umbrasyl has a hoard of treasure that's so much that it's glowing off in the corner. I thought that was going to be because we kind of get these spectral communication things from Thordak.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be him, like the little, spiritual phone call from the other dragon going, "Where's my treasure?"
What up? Where's my where my money at?
Yeah, but it's not. And they go over there and find the treasure. And of course, Scanlan claims the magical key. And Vex is hating once again. Like, why do you
always hating? She's a hating ass elf. Why are you such a hater?
He's like, I should get all the MF and magical keys. I killed the dragon.
I mean, he did. He did.
Yeah,
like,
he did.
He delivered the killing blow. Y'all were all about to die. He saved y'all.
Yeah. He's like, this.
He saved all y'all.
Umbrasyl said this cave is about to be y'all's tomb. And everybody was about to get it till he got cracked by Scanlan and that sword, and that was a wrap. So yeah, if he wants to take the magic key, let him take the magic key. She's already got the pocket dimension, which she never brought I guess he wouldn't have been an elf use, but she didn't bring the bear out.
She didn't. Which I'm sort of glad she did. I would have been sad if the bear died.
Yeah. And so yeah, they win finally in the end, and they go back to Whitestone to meet up with Percy's sister, who's having another council meeting, I guess, to let them know that one of the dragons are dead. And they say, was it 2 or 3 more to go?
I think there's 3 more to go.
Yeah.
And there's hope.
There's hope, yeah. And we see that Keeper Yemen is one of the dragons in disguise, I guess. I didn't see.
But like, here's the question. Here's the question I have about that.
Yeah.
Was it always Keeper Yemen, or did the dragon do something to her? Because like Keeper Yemen has a page. She's a person. Like, so I'm like, did she like make her unavailable for this meeting?
Yeah, I don't know. No clue.
Like, was this like just did she just live under the Whitestone horror for years as Keeper Yemen? Like, make it make sense.
Yeah, it's a lot. They got some more, it's the end of the season, and we have more questions that need answering now. Like, was she always one of the dragons? Although I kind of figured that was going to come back into play later when we found out in season 1 that one blue dragon could go and morph into human form. So I was like, that's probably going to come back again. And we find out that she hates Thordak just as much as they do. Mm-hmm. And Keeper Yen is voiced by Gina Torres.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So
one of my favorite. That.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen. She's like, yeah, I hate Thordak more than you could ever, and he's not taking the treasure for what you think it is. And then the episode ends. We go back to wherever Thordak is in his cave, and the other dragon lets him know
he's on the city. He's in the original city.
Okay.
Yeah.
That Umbrasyl was felled by the people who have the vestiges.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, it doesn't matter. And then they pan down. He's laughing. I'm sad, though. Like, what are we going to do with season 3 with no Lance Riddick to voice Thordak?
I'm very sad about that. I'm so sad about that. I mean, hopefully, like, fingers crossed, they recorded a lot so they can yes, Jocelyn, you're right. We just cry. Maybe like he doesn't have a bigger role yet, and so they can like reuse some of his old audio.
Yeah. Maybe they already recorded it. Hopefully.
Yeah. Because I feel like now, because season 1 was almost like a setup fake. Like, for season 1, they get rid of the dragon in like the first 2 episodes, and then it's all about Whitestone.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking, okay, each season is going to be about like a different big bad they're going to fight throughout the entire season or something like that, or maybe a couple big bads. And then the end of season 1 is like, oh no, it's the dragons, they're coming back. And then they almost make it seem like in the beginning of season 2, it almost made it seem like, okay, they're gonna get rid of the dragons this season. No, they got rid of one, and so each season is going to be a different dragon they're getting rid of. I'm guessing. So the next one's probably going to be the ice dragon that they're going to try. The one who was the one who came and told Thordak that the other dragon was dead.
Yeah.
So I feel like season 3 is going to be all about that dragon. So we probably won't need Thordak's voice so much.
Maybe, and now we see we got a bunch of these. Apparently, he's going to hatch an army of baby dragons. That's about it, because they pan down, and all these eggs are sitting there in this basking light of the treasure. So I don't know if the treasure gives them heat or something that's hatching these eggs, but we see that, and
maybe it's like they keep it at the constant temperature they need. You know, it's the only thing that gets the fire hot enough to the temperature they need, or whatever.
Yeah. So apparently, everybody's about to inherit this realm. These baby dragons are about to take over the entire realm, and that's how they close it out. So what do you rate this season out of 10?
Like a 7.5, 8.
Really?
Because compared to season, I liked the season, I really did. But like I said, I didn't like how they sort of like turned on my man Scanlan out of nowhere. Because like literally season 1 and season 2, 10 minutes maybe went by between season 1 and season 2 in their real world. And it was like their entire way they treated him switched. And I didn't like how they were just like making him the butt of jokes. Again, I don't like Vex. And I saw a lot more of her than I should have. I'll keep it as an 8. An 8. It was a good. I would rewatch this season again. Like I would rewatch it. It would be like a comfort show. I'm like, okay, let's watch it. Enjoy it. People died. But it wasn't perfect. Not for me yet. It wasn't perfect.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I'd have it at about an 8. I enjoy what they give us. I enjoy the presentation. The storyline is cool. The characters are funny and enjoyable without that funniness distracting from the rest of the story, if that makes sense.
And it wasn't forced either.
Yeah. When it's too much, when you see they're trying to be funny over and over and over again, then it was like, all right, we get it. It's jokey. But this was very enjoyable. I'm curious to see where it's going, especially in light of, like I said, the real world things that have happened and how that may change the trajectory of the show and the big bads that we get. So hopefully they find a good way to respectfully finish and get through this next season, and we move on. So I can't wait to see what happens. I think we said they are contracted at least for the next season or 2, right?
I believe season 3 and 4.
Okay. Well, yeah, great. I guess we'll see how that plays out whenever they release season 3 to us. Thank you once again for chopping it up about this. Thank you, Jocelyn, for chiming in for where you are at Schmocon or whatever it is in New York.
No. It has an S, and S are my hard words right now.
Stromberg or Schomburg?
Stromberg, yeah.
Yeah.
S's are hard right now.
Go get them, have fun, make some money, make some connects, and we hope to see you safely back whenever you return. Don't forget to check out the link in the description of, she's like, it's at Schimberg. What does that say? Schimberg Center.
I feel like Stromberg. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I'm high.
Stromberg. Yeah, Stromberg. Say hi to TJ Sterling if you see him.
And Cerise.
Yeah, and Cerise too. Appreciate you. You all that listened to us and chimed in as well, caught us on the live. We appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the description of the podcast and see the links to my other website as well as the link tree for Andrea Rose Washington. And don't forget to check out Trekkie and Beyond,
a Star Trek podcast. We're going into lower decks.
There you go. Thank you all. We will talk to you all next week.
Bye.
Peace.